I have two cool headphones from Soundpeats, the Cove Pro versus the Space. We want to figure out in this video which one is better. So let's get started. Let's first check out the dimensions and the build quality. So the first thing that I noticed, this is much heavier, the black one, the Cove Pro, where the white one is the Space. The Space feels more lightweight. The cups are very flush, but not as flushy and as big as those here. The memory foam, clearly a bit of a higher quality than this one here. That is a bit, less dampened. What I really like about those, however, is the L&R indicators. Very futuristic, nice, and they are part of this fabric here. Where here it feels like it's a separate kind of piece that's just sticked on it and it could like get away. It's not also so dampening here. So a bit of a downgrade there when it comes to this kind of element. Otherwise, both can be twisted like this, as you see here. Have very nice dampening here on the headrest as well as good quality here. So we have also indicators here, which is quite nice, and they're holding quite stiff together there. And yeah, of course you can like put them like this to put them in your bag, for example. And the same you can do with those here. You see, they also can fold like this. Feel very lightweight. The dampening on the head is a little bit less, just like with the ear cups. But you can also transport them like this. But you see that the profile here seems to be a bit larger on the, let's put them side by side, a bit larger there on the Space than on the Cove Pro, because you cannot get this up a notch. When it comes to the band itself, this is more plasticky feeling here. You don't have any indicators there on the side. It's a bit more loose, might be also because I used it a little bit longer there. And yeah, they feel a little bit loose here in this regard as well, where these are definitely a little bit tighter for sure. But might be because you're not wearing them so often yet. Otherwise, the mechanism here is pretty solid. We have this Soundpeats logo almost hidden here in black. So yeah, not everyone will know what kind of headphones those are. Where here it is very prominent with the S from Soundpeats. And yeah, this silver metallic kind of actually plastic that we have here look feels quite nice and interesting to use. This definitely the more lightweight ones that you don't feel so much. These are a bit heavier, but after a few minutes you also forget that you're wearing them. Talking about wearing, let's take a look how they look like. Wearing them here is quite easy. Start with the Cove Pro. I already hear myself muffled, which is good, and speaks for the very large kind of cups that we have here that is like sealing my ear completely, and have very good passive noise isolation already. And feels very nice even in the smallest kind of setting. It's holding very nicely, no issues there. And also handling noises, I hear that I'm doing something here, but it's a bit muffled already. Where with the Space, everything is more lightweight, more plasticky, more toyish like almost. And if I have to go somewhere fishy where I think people might break headphones or steal them or something like this, or I know that I might lose them, probably take the Space one because they feel a little bit cheaper and not like I lose a lot. Putting them on is also dampening a lot, almost the same as with the other ones, but a little bit less. The dampening noise is a little bit, I hear my voice a little bit more, and clearly the touching here, the buttons and so on, feels more plasticky, feels more, it's getting through into your ear canal a little bit more than with the Cove Pro. So build and finish, Cove Pro is definitely better. Comfort-wise, the Cove Pro also is a little bit better, but you don't feel it so much because the Space are also pretty good in this regard. So comfort-wise, I think both are good. It's just probably depending on your head. And I'm also wearing it in the smallest kind of size. Clamping force is a little bit less here. But this or that, you be the judge which one you like better. Which one you... this is definitely the more comfort one if you want it. But honestly, I didn't notice much of a difference wearing those here to those, even in terms of weight. You just forget about them after a few hours. Control-wise, on the Space, we have this large volume rocker, we have a power button, and we have a headphone jack. Yes, you can connect them via analog headphone jack again, and passively use the Space, which is quite interesting. The ANC button and the charging port are on this side. This one here, over 100 hours, 125 hours, something like this hour. Ridiculous kind of without ANC. For sure, which is definitely something that is interesting with ANC. It's still over 60 hours, so definitely something to look into if you want to have the longer endurance in terms of battery. The Cove Pro have all the controls on one side, so we have the power button here, we have an ANC button, and we have a volume rocker. There's nothing on the other ear cup side there at all. Just only speaker microphone actually, and there is microphone as well, and the USB Type-C port for charging, but you can also connect it via USB Type-C to your laptop, to your tablet, to your phone if you need to. It's a digital output here. It needs a bit of power though, but it can of course get the power from the USB Type-C port, so this might work as well, but no analog output anymore. Battery life wise, this one is a bit worse than the Space, because we have 95 hours, still an amazing number without ANC, and I think it's 56 hours with ANC turned on, and this is the biggest difference between those two in terms of battery life, so this is a little bit weaker than the Space. Otherwise, 10 minutes of charging will give them over 10 hours of battery life. How cool is that? So fast charging is on board of both of them. In terms of Bluetooth, we have 6.0 versus 5.3. We have LDAC support on the Cove Pro, where the Space only supports AAC. There's a gaming mode with low latency, around 50 milliseconds with both are equally fine. They're used for gaming. Battery life, of course, is not with LDAC on the Cove Pro, because then it will go quickly down to 30-ish, maybe 40-ish kind of hours there. But this is a given because you're using a higher quality codec that uses a lot more power. So in terms of more features, the Cove Pro has a bit of an edge over the Space. And of course, both headsets support multi-point, so you have the ability to connect it to multiple devices, like 2 devices at the same time, like a tablet or phone, and it will automatically switch to the phone if a call comes through, for example, which is quite convenient. This is now a recording that I'm testing here on the Soundpeats Space. How good is the microphone system working here? We have several microphones on board here, which are not only for noise cancellation, but also for picking up my voice quite clearly for phone calls. So how good is this working here on this headset? I like that the sound suppression is quite good. So if I have some background noises, it has no issues in filtering this out. And what do you think about the sound quality here on the Soundpeats Space? And by the way, what I can tell you as well is, of course, I updated them to the latest firmware. By the way, you are listening now to the Cove Pro. That should sound a little bit better. They have a very strong noise reduction, however, so whenever I'm quiet, it is reducing everything down and then jumping up a little bit. Depends on what you really like. If it is running nicely, you don't have any issues in understanding me, and the quality is slightly better with the more mic system that we have here on the Cove Pro in comparison to the Space. But you can tell me which one you like better. Let's come to the more interesting part for several people, is sound quality. Which one is better in terms of sound quality? This one is better in terms of sound quality, but there's a big but. This one feels a bit more balanced in its default setting, where this is very bass boosted and almost to the point where it's muffled in some ways, especially when it comes to female vocals, where this one feels much more clearer in this regard. So bass-wise, you can also tune this to be much more bass heavy, but the detailed bass you get only with the Cove Pro. You cannot make this more detailed in this regard. Warm vocals on both, warmer vocals here, lesser warm vocals, but still warm vocals here. Warmer sound for sure here in general against this one here. More solid build as well. ANC is way better here for sure. Here sometimes you get like this cabin pressure ANC, which I really don't like, and I think, I'm not sure what they're promising, but I think the ANC is good with the lower rumbly kind of noise, but with the higher noises and voices, forget about it. This one is a bit better there. It is even lowering the rumbly noises a little bit more down, like in an airplane, but especially when it comes to the higher volumes, higher mids and highs, it's definitely also a little bit better there with ANC. Also in terms of transparency, however, I think those here are raising a little bit more the highs and mids in terms of transparency, which lets it through a little bit easier. Also because the passive noise isolation on the Space is not as good as this one here. I prefer the transparency on the Space in comparison to the Cove Pro. We have a way more neutral sound on the Space, however, with way more emphasis on the highs, which is something that people might adore a little bit more. The soundstage, however, here is definitely smaller. It's not only the details that are lacking there, the soundstage is definitely smaller here than here. So you get a larger soundstage on the Cove Pro. Lots of handling noises you have because of the cheaper plastic here, which I really don't like. Also with the ANC modes, this one is handling this way nicer. This is like, yeah, the summary in terms of like sound quality. So yeah, this one here you can tune. If you don't like the too warmish kind of bass, you can also go into bass reduction mode, which is a pre-equalizer setting that you can choose, or you can choose something from the community. Though you can choose also something from the community for those ones here to make them sound better as well. But if you have to tune them, which one is better? Still, the Cove Pro will sound better even if you tune them, because they have the better drivers inside there, and I think the whole construction seems to be a little bit more solid. Now, which one should you get, the Space or the Cove Pro? First of all, if you have the Space, you don't necessarily have to get the Cove Pro, because I think it is more like a sidestep, a bit of an upgrade here and there with ANC, but most of the time, if you really want to upgrade, then take a little bit more money in your hands and then get a headphone pair for over $100. That might be a real upgrade. This one here is just currently, when I'm filming here, $10 more expensive than this one here. So if you have to decide which one to get, and if you don't like the better design here on this one, because I think this was way more fancier in terms of design, then definitely it's a no-brainer. You get the Cove Pro for $10 more. I think $60 is currently the price that you have to get them. And this one here is around 50. So definitely get the Cove Pro, because you get the better headphones to date in 2026. Otherwise, if you get good price for the Space, like, I don't know, 20, 25 euros and bucks, and this one here for 50, then this might be interesting. You can save a little bit one as a beta headphone, as a secondary headphone, as a studio headphone that you want to use, maybe also quite interesting. And if you want a lightweight pair, definitely also interesting. But when they are price-wise this close, get the Cove Pro. And that's it for my comparison versus here, Cove Pro versus Soundpeats Space. Which one do you like better? Do you have both of them? Do you have one of them? Which one is better for you? Which one do you like design-wise? Write it down in the comments. Let me know if you have another, kind of in the same price region headphone that you would recommend fully that should be better than those two. Write it down in the comments as well. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time. Bye.